that is fascinating because it's almost backwards of us. We have a few that are like, hey, I've done public school. I really want to try the homeschooling thing. So, and it might be an individual thing. I might not be able to homeschool all 5. It may just be great for 2. You know, so I like that you said that because it might be on a one-on-one basis.
We could be a mixed bag. We may have to get up and get kids to school, but it may not be all of them.
Yeah, and that's what we've done this year. He's the only one that went this year. And then, come home from the bus drop-off and, you know, clean up the house and get the others up and do their thing. And, you know, but it's been a really good thing, and I'm glad we listened to it.
I like that.
So it seems like if I'm hearing you correctly, keep your goals obtainable and reasonable.
Yeah.
And enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And number 2 is everybody gets a vote and support.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of communication. I mean, when I think about you originally asked what set us up for success. And the poison and the antidote were kind of the same thing there. When we first came out here, it was quite primitive, and we were working with a very limited budget because we had basically spent everything that we had on the land. And so we couldn't have brought power out. That first winter, we had this shell shock of living in a very small space and having no electricity. So all we had were our candles and our headlamps that first winter. And do you remember this? We sat in front of the fire every night. There was nothing else to do. I couldn't even really write. I'm a writer, but my computer wasn't charged. So we would sit in front of the fire every night, and the communication that kind of blossomed between us, this security of, we put the kids to bed and I read them a story and then we just sit there.
And there's no distractions, right? There's no cell phones. There's no, it is just talking. I love it.
It's you two.
Right. It's like, it was, in a way, it was like my ideal, my fantasy came true.
Yeah,
because the communication was so great.
No distractions, no phones ringing, nothing.
And so that, I think that really did set us up to be able to understand where the other person was coming from and to be able to be vulnerable with taking risks. You know, for me, in a way, this whole thing was a risk. When he said he's going to build a house, and I say, well, I've never seen you do that before. So that's trust.
Yeah.
Right? I do assume you can, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I assume I can as well. I never have. So.
But there's a lot of romance to that. I mean, once you get to the point where you can be vulnerable and trust the other person, it's romantic.
Right, and that set a pattern of communication. You know, I think that was, and even going as primitive as you can. You know, I said get your comforts in place, but if you are able to strip it down to, you know, just the comfort items and leave all the distractions out, then that lets you build from like a solid foundation of, you know, we know these are our needs, and so you don't sort of stretch beyond what you're actually capable of.
That is seriously what I wanted to hear. That's I think that would create some safety and security for myself and the kids. He functions a little bit differently, but I think that would really help me.
I think that what I'm getting is your hand is raised, and that we need more. We need to, because of this scariness of the situation, we just need to communicate more, and we may have to set that time aside because we're going to be super busy.
Well, I think there's so many projects on the table. I mean, the
we are
priority
so
list
busy.
is like, I mean, it's huge, right? It's your paper under the bed. But as long as I know that our focus first is basic comfort, and the overall thing is marital and family relationships, that matters more than anything.
Right.
Then, and if we both agree on that, and that is our main goal, then all the other distractions, be it YouTube or you know, even work, those are second to us being healthy and happy and stable.
Because I'm guessing that's why you're moving out there.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Is to be together,
exactly.
right? Yeah. So if you screw that up, then you're already sunk. You know?
You're right. But if we can keep that in mind at every turn, I think then that would help.
Well, I think that's really well said.
So I guess we haven't really covered practical advice, but
Give it to us.
some of the philosophy anyway. No, I mean I don't.
I think this is more important.
Absolutely.
Because I can read a book on electrical systems or plumbing or wells.
Right.
But hearing about the emotional stuff, there's not a textbook on, hey, you're going to get dropped in a pressure cooker.
Right.
Here's how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I understand, probably not as well as I should, that this whole experiment of us going to the country and living a more rural lifestyle it's scary.
Yeah. And it's different too. I mean, you can't treat it exactly the way you would treat other projects, you know, because I mean, I've made the mistake before. You know, I can't treat my family like a crew full of guys that are working for me. You know,
I have made that mistake.
Yeah,
it did not go well for me.
Right. It doesn't. It just doesn't. So. You can't treat it like your other projects because you don't have a staff. You have, you have a team. So.
But the other side of that is that I hate being left out. So I don't necessarily have the skills to be a carpenter on staff for him. But I do love to know what's going on. I do always want to know.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
What
Right.
I like it if he will give me even the details of what the project is, and then I can say, oh, you know, the kids are resting right now. There's daylight after bedtime. I'd love to come out and move some stuff with you, or let me just hang out and do the small tasks that I can do. So I feel some ownership in this,
Right.
because we definitely have had moments where it feels like our different projects. My project tends to be providing income for us. You know, my project is writing a book, which is going to provide income. His project is building the house that's going to provide shelter. There's this lie out there that makes us feel like they're competing.
Right.
They're not. We're both trying to take care of our family.
Right.
I like that though, because I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel the separation. I want the team feeling. I don't want to just be mom, you know, housekeeper, cook. I want us to work together, and that has been something I'm really glad you said that. We've talked a lot about that.
Yeah, because it does sometimes. I get busy doing my punch list, and then she says, "Hey, I need some help with this," and I'm like, you know, I got the wrong attitude. Just let me finish what I'm doing. And really, it doesn't matter when I finish that if she needs help. It's more about.
Or even just the communication, like she said. Even if you're out doing your thing, just the details of, hey, this is what I'm working on, this is what I got done, just so I feel the knowledge and a part of it.
Yeah.
I think that was really well said.
Yeah.
So, well,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just, thanks. I think that's really, really good advice. Really good advice. Well, you know, there's no way we could walk over to the neighbor's house in their cookie cutter home and ask these kinds of questions, because it's an experience. You know, it's like asking a person about Mars who's never been to Mars.
Right.
And they're just not going to know. And so it is. Thank you very much for letting us sit down and ask a few questions. And I think that's really solid advice. And I think we should.
I think all of it's going to set us up for success. I
Yeah.
really do. And the kids have had such a great time here. So this was
Thanks for letting us come and visit.
great first experience, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of hard and good times. But
And
it's fun to see somebody doing it. And then I have somebody to cry with, right?
Right, exactly. And you can always say that you were the first house guests in our yurt.
That's true.
We cleaned it up for them, so they got
really
to see the yurt.
It was a
We actually moved out.
That's right.
Because when we went up to the house, we kind of just like
Grabbed what
I
we
want
needed.
this and this, and now let's go. You know, and left everything else kind of a mess. But
Well, it was really fun to stay in. I loved
Cool.
the circular shape of it.
Right.
I expressed
Yeah.
that to you. Really fun.
Yeah. Staying in the yurt was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
And that's we should have done that a few more times before
Right.
Learning about the family all in one space.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
I hadn't even considered that. It's like, because you think, oh, we're all in the same house, but we're not. We're not in the same space. We're not occupying the same space.
Right.
And so when we put all of us in that space, it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was
it's a
different.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Well, thank you, Nick and Esther. You can find Nick and Esther at Fouch-O-Matic Off-Grid. Great YouTube channel, tons of good information. We love watching, and we think you will too.
We'll see you over there.
Yeah.